是俊良，我今年15岁半，我现在来新加坡有9年多了，今年是中3。当时看到那个高楼大厦的心情，其实是比较开心，但是又难过。开心在于我不敢相信我来新加坡居然坚持了这么长的时间，但是伤心的就是因为来新加坡很多年了，我觉得待在新加坡是真的一件不容易的事情。
Hi everyone, my name is Judy, and today I will be talking about how I got the ASEAN scholarship to study in Singapore.
ជំរាបសួរអ្នកទស្សនាទាំងអស់ខ្ញុំឈ្មោះកុយ Judy ហើយឆ្នាំនេះខ្ញុំអាយុ18ឆ្នាំ I think the biggest misconception that some Singaporeans have of Cambodia is that we're very much a third world country who doesn't have that many daily necessities. Like, for instance, I remember a classmate coming up to me and asking me, "Do you guys have Wi-Fi in Cambodia?" Living by myself is definitely a struggle, especially when I first came to Singapore, because living in Cambodia, I was used to private transport. Like, I would always take the tuk-tuk in order to go to school. But coming to Singapore, I was kind of forced to learn how to use the complex transportation system here. I think I grew a lot from that.
2015年的时候来新加坡，当时来新加坡是旅游，我看到那些高楼大厦就比较震撼，于是就萌生出了一个想法，就是待在新加坡读书。当时我跟我奶奶讲了之后呢，奶奶就跟父母沟通了一下，在中国办理了一些离学手续后，就正式来新加坡了。我记得我因为刚来新加坡，换的学校比较多，我需要经常搬家。有一次搬家，搬到红帽桥那里，搬完所有东西的时候，几乎是8点9点这样。我和奶奶就是去买一些鸡饭，因为鸡已经卖完了，所以我只能买到没有鸡的鸡饭。我来新加坡之后，学英语对我最大的困难就是有2方面，一是它的语法，二是因为它的词语。我在中国当时只是练习一下 ABC 这些，我和正常人用英文来沟通其实是没什么问题，但是考试来说，我用那个卷子和那个考官来沟通的时候，我的语法就经常出问题了。英文对我来说真的太重要了，因为我的英文有一次考试考不及格，导致我现在选科不能选到我自己心仪的科目。
I was from an international school in Cambodia, so we did use English as our primary language. In terms of that, it's not very different since we do use English in Singapore too. But the education system is just very different. And I feel like in terms of studying, it was a lot more chill in Cambodia, and I had more time to myself in order to relax or pursue my hobbies and even play games sometimes. But in Singapore, I feel like every time that I'm not studying is time wasted. I definitely confide in my parents, and they were able to offer me support. And even if they can't really just tutor me in the same way my teacher can, they can offer me like a listening ear. My relationship with my parents definitely changed, but for the better, because I feel like when we were living together, inevitably we would like have issues with each other and get into like silly arguments. But I think the distance has definitely made my heart grow fonder. And as much as I hate to admit it, their absence definitely made me miss them more.
喂，媽媽，
食飯未？
未有喎，未有食飯。
咁你又話揾補習老師嗰度揾咗點樣？咁佢一個月都係幾千蚊啫，咁你都要報個咗，咪唔可以成日推咯喎。
係， 我而家主要諗嘅係英文，想揾個英文嘅補習老師。我奶奶的離開其實是很突然的，她是在一天早晨散步的時候，她好像心臟病，然後呢送到醫院的時候已經就是非常緊急了那個情況。我奶奶在2019年去世後，在後面又是 COVID， 所以跟我父母見面的機會非常少。甚至我記得整個 COVID 我都沒怎麼和我父母見面，打電話也只不過是1個月或2個月打一次。當時和父母的關係已經就是到了幾乎冰點了。在我奶奶就是去世後，作息有非常混亂。對，那段時間因為各種各樣的問題還有困難來了，比如說開銀行賬戶啊什麼的。那麼這些問題我解決不了，我就需要找其他人幫我解決。我是第一次面對他們，所以比較迷茫，我就有很大壓力。
I think that part of the reason why my brother decided to pursue the scholarship in order to come to Singapore was because of me. Because I remember being so stressed out one day that I started crying, having a whole mental breakdown, and texting my brother saying, "I am so lonely here, please come to live here with me."
I think my sister has always been like an independent person, but over here I've definitely realized and seen that she's definitely grown more mature and independent.
Back in Cambodia, because of the dangerous roads, my parents made me become a very sheltered child. Like, I didn't even know how to cross the road by myself in Cambodia. But coming to Singapore, I can travel by myself to faraway places, and my parents now trust me to do that. I'd like to thank you for basically uprooting your entire life and coming here, even though a part of you didn't want to. And even though I don't say it, I love you, and I'm very glad that I have you here with me.
我觉得压力大的时候，我会有那个兴趣爱好，比如说健身啊什么的。就因为我需要100%的把我自己放进去，所以我通常会忘记自己压力，并且我在健身的时候也可以遇到一些朋友啊什么的，他们互动诉说自己的困难，然后寻求一些帮助，对我来说可以缓解那个压力。
I only have time for singing, which I guess would be my only hobby right about now. It takes all of the pressure away from having to say my feelings out loud, and just by like screaming my lungs out to a song, it really makes me feel lighter.
2-3个星期前在克拉码头吧，因为去工作体验，有那么一瞬间我去到那里，让我想起了当初来新加坡来流车水那个地方。不过可能是因为我长大了吧，身高比较高，所以看到那些高楼大厦也没有那么高了。
I hope to let other students know that it does come with its challenges, but in the end it's all worth it because you learn a lot from living by yourself.
我在今年4月份清明节回去后，我看到我奶奶的墓，我觉得我身边其实有很多事情不是永恒的，它们自然会消亡或什么的，就是离我而去。所以我之所以觉得迷茫，是因为我不知道如果我在新加坡读书 它会不会有一个结果，这个是我比较担心。但是我爸爸说他看好我，所以这给了我希望，继续在新加坡读书坚持下去。